Welcome to Joose in the Morning. I'm your host, King Dice. My co-host, Young Mix. And today our panelists are CeeLo of ICE Best Kept Secret Radio.
That's right.
And Diesel of Uproar Nation and ICE Best Kept Secret Radio. He's multifaceted. You want everybody to know. So let's get right into it. I'm sure everyone knew we were going to discuss the Trayvon Martin case and George Zimmerman being found not guilty. Thoughts?
I mean, like, he's found not guilty doesn't mean he's going to be found safe this week.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
I look at, like, you know, this was an isolated incident that happened last year. However, I feel like other parties are using it as a catalyst to advance their agenda, or whatever the case may be. It could be for gun control, for anything. Maybe they want to see a riot. Maybe they want to see this and that. Things that are not contributing to any resolution of justice.
Who's they? You said they.
You know what I'm saying? This other part as well, like, say for people that are campaigning against, gun laws, this could be a good example to why there may need to be stricter gun laws, even though it's different in each state or whatnot.
Where?
Like, for one, when's the last time you carried a gun on probation?
Me personally?
I'm just saying, not you personally, I'm saying in general. This dude was on probation. He had a restraining order on from, having a domestic altercation with his wife. He's a tax police officer before. But yeah, it's okay for him to roll around with a gun. Furthermore, if he's doing personal errands, he's still rolling around with a gun on personal errands.
Florida's a very different place. I say that. Florida, the laws, I think they're stuck in the 1920s. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it was still Jim Crow in Florida. Like, that's what I feel about Florida.
And the whole the stand your ground law. Now, that was listed as one of the deciding factors. And they, it's in general.
Right.
It's been said that that's one of the deciding factors for him being not guilty. But correct me if I'm wrong. Wasn't Trayvon defending himself? Was he standing his ground? If there's some creepy dude rolling around with a gun and just gonna start profiling you and say, hey, what are you doing out here, and following you, physically following you, Trayvon got away, got a slip on him, checked him a few times, like he was supposed to. Like I would have told my son to do, some creepy dudes following him, not knowing anything happened. He was thinking he probably could have got raped or killed or anything going on, so he was protecting himself.
Right. But
yet, this guy pulls out a gun for him because he can't fight, which has been proven by his MMA instructor. He's going to take it for since he can't fight still. And he shoots him to get people who are sympathizing for Zimmerman enough to where he's not guilty.
What are your thoughts, CeeLo?
I mean, I'm not a Zimmerman sympathizer at all, and I think I even posted yesterday. It's definitely a sad day for the Martin family, but to the same extent, I mean, when it comes down to it, the prosecution has to bring without a shadow of doubt the evidence to make the jury of his peers convict him. Obviously they didn't. I mean, I just saw a recap. I mean, I didn't really follow the case like everybody else was. But, I mean, if you really, really want change, fight for change. I saw a lot of posts yesterday from just random people that are, he's gonna get caught slipping, fuck the government, this and that. But it's like, well, what are you doing to invoke change? If you don't like the way the laws are, do something about it. If you don't know how to make change, educate yourself in how to make change. That was one of the things that kind of really irritated me about it, yesterday.
Right.
I mean, I had no problem with anybody voicing their opinion, giving facts of the case, saying, well, there's videotape, or audio recording of him, begging for his life and everything, screaming. But in the same extent, I believe, and bear with me, because like I said, I didn't follow the case, but I was kind of educating myself to the case as well.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, his own father couldn't even pick him out and say that was his son on the table.
Right.
It wasn't until later on where he said, well, after hearing it 20 times, over and over and over, yeah, that's my son. You kind of negate yourself when you do stuff like that, especially to a jury of 6 women. You know, women are more rational about things. They'll sit back and listen to it, and they're supposed to listen to this tape and who've never met Trayvon Martin say, that's Trayvon Martin's voice. You know, I mean, I'm sure they were behind the scenes listening to it still, going, well, fuck, if his own father couldn't recognize his voice the first time around, how are we?
I think, do you think race has to do with this?
No. I mean, they definitely made it a race thing, but I don't understand how it became a white and black thing. Dude isn't even white.
Exactly.
He's not white. He's got a name that sounds white, don't get me wrong, but dude isn't white. I mean, like Diesel was saying, I think people were just trying to twist it for their own agendas
What do you think?
and push things that way.
I agree. I think the whole white thing maybe came from people tying it to the justice system, honestly. Like, oh, fuck white people, but they're really saying fuck the system. Saying white people and the system kind of go hand in hand.
Yeah.
I think it is racial. I think it is because, well, we have to step back and look at the larger picture. And in Florida, there's been a long history of problems, racial issues, and that's only further today by laws that try to, well, allegedly try to hinder black votes. And all in all, this is what I think the meat of this is, that people need to wake up, whether they think that Trayvon Martin's at fault or Zimmerman's at fault. People need to wake up and pay attention to the laws that are being passed in their state,
Exactly.
which ties into the voting hindering laws or whatever, the ID laws. And I mean, we could do a whole show about that, but I'd rather get into this. I was thinking about it, and what are your thoughts about hip hop being to blame? Hip hop, we set a fashion, we set a dress code for people who are involved in the hip hop lifestyle. What do you think? You think hip hop had anything to do with this?
I think that's.
Why?
I think going back to the white people and fuck the system, it's an attitude that somewhat comes with hip hop music sometimes. Like fuck the system, basically. And it's the culture. It's how we were raised. Like last week we talked about the N-word usage.
I will say we also have the right to move freely in this country without being stopped.
Exactly.
So, well, on to something else. So this week, for the first time in a long time, we broke a record. Hip hop. We as in hip hop broke a record. Kanye West, J. Cole, and Wale have broken a record for the first time in over a decade that 3 hip hop albums have held the first top 3 spots in Billboard, on the Billboard top 100 albums. Why is that? Why? What is it that changed from 10 years ago to where hip hop, which I would say is the backbone of the United States culture, that's where everyone adopts their slang, they adopt their attire, I think hip hop is pretty solid in the DNA of American culture, yet it's been over 10 years since 3 hip hop albums have held the top 3 spots. What's going on? Are we falling off?
I ain't know people still buying albums. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Where they get these sales from?
I think a little bit had to do with the timing of it all too, because I mean, look at when they were released. They were released pretty close to each other.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, you're not gonna be able to get those type of numbers without, like you were saying, when you have Kanye's album come out and very quickly Jay-Z's coming out.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, those are 2 of the most popular artists in hip hop. They're gonna get caught one way or another, whether it be downloaded or whether it be purchased. You know, I mean, it's just gonna happen.
I don't think that's what it was. I feel like before 10 years ago, there was just more artists. Maybe it was easier to get a deal. Maybe record labels were quicker to fund a project, and there were more of them coming out. It seems like now it's few and far between when an album drops and it's damn near a fucking holiday.
So would you say it's the quality of these albums that did it?
I think it's the quantity. I think 10 years ago, I mean, just for argument's sake, any Joe Schmo could release a project, and Universal would back it, or Def Jam would back it. And now, I mean, before Kanye, Jay, and J. Cole, I can't remember the last album, hip hop album release I remember. Can you?
album?
That was like damn near a year ago.
Late last year.
Camp.
Like late last year.
Okay. I think that was over a year. We have to check the back.
Game dropped one not that
Great
long
album.
ago.
The game.
The game? Yeah, didn't his drop not that long ago?
Like Snoop
That was
Lion.
about last year.
Snoop Lion?
Um,
No, I'm just saying, but I think part of it too, though, is the name recognition, though. You know, I mean, when you got Kanye and Jay-Z dropping, you know, so close to each other, you know they're gonna pull high numbers.
Maybe.
You know, I mean, if it would have been like Kanye, and then like if it wasn't even Jay-Z, if it was someone like, come on, help me out here, guys. I don't listen to mainstream. You know? I's best cat. But I mean, if it would have been anybody else that didn't have a name, the name power Jay-Z has,
Chingy.
if it would have been Chingy,
Right.
if Chingy would have dropped it, I doubt it would have been the top three. The top three would have been hip hop.
Right.
You know what I mean? It really has to do with namesake at the same.
But what's
extent.
happened between now and 10 years ago?
Well, I'll tell you right now, and I'll probably be the only one to tell you, I didn't like Ye's latest album at all. I didn't like a single one. But that's just me. You know, I don't really follow into, you know, the mainstream media no more. You know, I focus more locally and stuff like that. So
I don't think necessarily it was that they were the only ones that could drop an album. Maybe they were the only ones left that were able to put stuff out on a major scale like that. Because everyone else is, you know, non-independent. You know, independent labels or even without a label. Mac Miller still don't have a label. He's a millionaire. Still no label. But he's still pushing out there. I mean, like the way that you promote yourself and create that buzz is completely changed, you know. So like shout out to people like Jay-Z, who's technically a dinosaur, but he found a new way to market his music and still stay up to date with technology and integrate the both of them.
I think
And anybody could have done that.
I
But did
think more of a contributing factor would be the fact that technology has caught up. That now you don't have to have the label to release a project fully, and it kind of ties into what you were saying. More people can be independent now. Like to really fund or build your own label, most of that can be done for like under $1,000 now today. So maybe that has something to do with it. Who knows? On to the future. And our future, they're going to be going to universities, four-year colleges, hopefully, if they can afford it. And Tufts University had an interesting question on their application. And their question is, to their incoming classes, what is YOLO and what does it mean to you? You think it's awesome?
I think it's awesome.
Speak on it.
You know, I've written a couple admission essays and pretty much boring. You have to write them like, oh, what are your plans for the future?
Right.
What will what will happen when you come in here? Like, okay. But asking what does YOLO mean to you, like that's incorporating more modern day life maybe. It's more exciting to write. I think it's cool.
I think it speaks again to hip hop's invasion and mutation of America's DNA.
Influence.
Right.
You know, like they're using it as a way to connect with a younger generation that they've all maybe not previously out of touch with.
Right.
People, this is what they can bring in. This is how we sound cool. Let's see what's trending right now. You know, maybe something else in the future. You know, they may have a you don't even know 101. You know, the next year or whatnot.
I would love to hear who it is that's got who's reading those. You know what I mean? I mean, obviously, like you said, it's starting to bleed into that, but how do they judge off of that? I mean, because to me, I've always hated that YOLO term. Like, say it for what it is, man. If you only live once, you only live once. You don't have to run around yelling YOLO, doing ignorant shit all day, you know?
Right.
To me, that's kind of played out with that whole fad fucking thing, you know what I mean? And I would just
bad.
yeah, fad.
Fad.
F-A-D or F-A-B,
Trend.
whatever, you know, the
F-A-D,
trend, you know?
yeah.
Not necessarily, I mean, I would just love to see the guy sitting, you know, reading all these admission essays and trying to figure, you know what, I like how the hell they put that one down, so we're gonna go ahead and admit that one, you know?
He's reading it with a few of these. Already out of the deck.
I think maybe they're also trying to open it to a different type of college applicant, or maybe accept more minorities or anything like that.
Yeah.
Even though it's kind of a weird way to do it, like, oh, YOLO, we're a cool campus. But
I think it's just kind of. I think it's kind of like, are you up with the times? YOLO isn't a new concept. You know what I mean? You can tie YOLO back to Buddhist dogma, carpe diem. Yeah, you know what I mean? It's a new way of saying something old. I just thought that was weird. Like, so I just picture an old ass dean of a university like bumping Drake and shit.
right.
I'm just saying, you can do
Now all
that.
class photos will be the little picture where you're leaning backwards.
The memes and shit.
Yeah.
The new logo. So on something new. What's up with white girls, man? Miley Cyrus and Amanda Bynes, they're wilding out. Like, I think this is a case of hip hop strikes again. I think they take everything bad in hip hop and epitomize it.
Well, I mean, excuse me, let me get in here real quick and I'll let you say so. I think a lot of it has to do with Amanda Bynes being, trying to jump into the hip hop community because she's supposed to be a hip hop artist now.
Oh, say word?
Yeah, this shit's, man, when I first read this shit, it made me fucking die
Paris
laughing.
Hilton got signed to Cash Money, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But
Macho Man put
and
out an
I think
album.
she's doing a lot of this Twitter shit talking to build the street cred. Because I'm not 100% sure, and I can't remember off the top who it is that's producing for Amanda Bynes. I want to say it was like 2 Chainz or some shit. But she's actually being co-signed by somebody in hip hop who's doing well.
Okay.
And
It doesn't seem like
and that's just the thing, man. I remember when I first heard that she's being shopped around as a hip hop artist or whatever. One of the first stops was straight to Wyclef's door, and he was like, "Fuck that,"
Right.
Which an artist like Wyclef, you need to be saying shit like that
you
because
probably could have used the money though.
I'm just saying, man. I mean, I think it's just her, trying to build the street cred. So when they start working on that and start leaking those type of tracks or whatever, it's got some sort of momentum to it. You know what I mean, what better way to sell records than to start beef with somebody else who makes music?
And like, man, the bothers me is like, if that's what she's trying to do to make her buzz as an artist, why doesn't she do something to prove that she's actually legit? Like, whatever happened to creating a buzz by just being dope?
Yeah, I want to hear some music.
You know, like,
She's
like she got
crazy,
bars.
really white
Amanda
people
Bynes
know
got
how. Go to
bars.
rehab.
Right, I'm gonna have to Google that.
I think the way they go about getting into this hip hop life, I think it's real stereotypical.
Oh, it is.
Like Miley
Without a
Cyrus is twerking every damn where.
Hey, but she getting down when she doing it though.
Does she? She don't even got ass.
Just like a lot
just
of
saying.
young artists that are just coming into the game and their only exposure to the music world is what they see on TV and what they hear on the radio. It's trying to live the image and not the life of a musician. And like that bothers me as a musician. Like, 'cause I know what goes into it as you as well. And it's like, okay, what can I do to be relevant without actually learning how to hit a note or write a song or go into the studio and make a dope song? Like, what can I do for people to talk about me before I even make a song? To where everyone wants to sign her, but yet she ain't never made a song.
I think both Amanda Bynes and Miley Cyrus are just trying to break out of the childhood star image.
Well, that's going to conclude today's episode. I'd like to thank our guest, CeeLo G of IE's Best Kept Secret Radio. You can give them your link so they can check out.
Check it out at IEsBestKeptSecret.com, Facebook.IEsBestKeptSecret. Get informed, stay up with everybody local, Don't
Definitely.
forget, we got the IE's Best Kept Secret Music Festival coming to you very, very fucking soon.
And JuiceBox.com definitely supports IE's Best Kept Secret. And Diesel.
Yes, you can find me
Everywhere.
everywhere. I can even narrow it down. Facebook.com, Uproar Nation, UproarMassMedia.com, DZYL5K1 on everything. And I guess I do mean everything. No D's at all. Find me there. I'm releasing like 15 albums this year, so let's see me. Stay tuned.
Strawberry Rita. And we got Young Miss, my co-host, and I'm King Dice for JuiceBoxx.com. And that's your Juice in the Morning. Get some.
It's 100% juice. No wonder it tastes so good.